Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trap Chat. I am your host, Kirsten Greggs, the Trap Recruiter. And listen, get a seatbelt, connect it very tightly,
Buckle up.
and hold on, buckle it up, because I am joined today by a phenomenal person who I can't say enough nice things about, but we are going to talk about some of them today. It's Elena Valentine,
Thank you.
the founder and executive producer at Skill Scout Films, also the co-founder of Mezcla Media Collective, hailing from Chicago, the Windy City, where it is probably very cold today. And listen, we're going to get into some things, but just in case this isn't touched upon, I want to say what Elena has in her bio as her biggest job for the team that she leads. And that's, hold on, I can take my glasses off because y'all know I can't see with my glasses on. It's to ensure the team feels celebrated to do their best work. Man, like that's a main thing. Okay, hold on. Put my glasses back on. I can see again. All right, so Elena, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Please tell the folks who you are and then share your journey in founding Skill Scout and how it has evolved over the years.
Yeah, that's no long response. Well, to make a long story less long, it really is my blessing to be here. There's really three things, about me, and I can dive in, but it's kind of important to my story, who I am, and naturally as a storyteller, I think for all of us, it's around owning which one is ours. One, yes, I am born, bred, blessed Chicago. And just like the great Filipino revolutionary Jose Rizal said, he who does not know where he comes from does not know where he's going. And so very rooted here. I think you'll also understand why, even as a founder and as a storyteller, I love origin stories, right? Second is that, yep, I run a company called Skill Scout. We're a creative studio based here in Chicago. We're here to transform ideas into action-inspiring visual experiences. And it's been my blessing to now come up almost 10 years to do that. And then the third is that, yes, I am a storyteller and I run a storytelling business. And it's because I believe that stories change worlds, starting with our own. And it's because of that I've been very led and blessed and passionate to really be able to do the work that I'm doing, starting first, really focused on stories of work. So talking about our own origin story and where we've come from. We're coming up now almost on 10 years.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. And we proudly built this business on the shoulders of talent acquisition, corporate recruiting, employer branding.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know our stories of work very well. We honor them. We believe that all jobs hold dignity.
Absolutely.
And it really starts because we're holding space for people to both reflect and celebrate their work.
I love that. I love that. And I didn't even realize that was a question that I had for you. You mentioned that your one of your biggest roles is to ensure your team feels safe and celebrated. So safe and celebrated to do their best work. How do you foster such an environment, and what strategies have you found effective in team management?
Well, I'll first say this. It's not perfect, and I'm not perfect. But inevitably, I've recognized that my role here over everything else is I'm a business owner. And that means that I both have to play and recognize ways in which I can set up not just our clients for success, but also our team. And so what that looks like in an environment like ours with a group of creatives is really kind of playing the line between how I can advocate for my colleagues' work and my colleagues' vision. And a lot of what that looks like are setting things up like boundaries and structures for all of us to play well together. And it's being able to then have the flexibility within those boundaries and structures for us to get creative to work well. So that in and of a nutshell is a lot of what that is, how do I be an advocate for both sides? That's my role. Really, that's the main role I have. It's not here to execute on the work. It's to ensure that I can be the backbone and the advocate for how that work gets done. But even more specifically for me, I'm a huge proponent of the Clifton strengths. And so all of our strengths are unique to us. And if I were to highlight the ones for me that I know are really kind of core to how I navigate my own leadership capabilities, it's a couple of the top three. One, my top Clifton strengths is being strategic. But what does that really mean? It means that I can identify patterns really quickly and outline multiple paths and pathways for a team to give them the options. So that's kind of a big one, right? Which is, all right, if there's a problem that comes or an idea that comes, one of my strengths that I lean into certainly is how I'm able to identify the myriad of paths that we can go down.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, and I think this kind of goes to show you my role as a storyteller, is empathy. And a lot of that certainly has to do with how I'm really appreciating and refining how other people are coming kind of to this conversation, be it with their own emotions and own feelings, how I'm able to insert myself and understand their perspective.
Okay.
And I would say the third is I'm a maximizer. So you mentioned, right, I'm here to ensure people feel safe and celebrated, but I say something even differently. I'm here to be a hype woman for humanity.
I love that. A hype woman for humanity. Yes.
Like I really come to most all conversations with the highest intention of really seeing people for their strengths and their highest selves. And that when I can both name that and identify that, it helps people lean in and maximize their own strengths that they bring to it. Okay. And so I would say from a kind of a high level standpoint, I know that that's what I do best. And that's certainly what I enjoy from a leadership standpoint.
I love that. And that's a great segue into our next question. You kind of touched on some things that are adjacent, but your approach, it involves using principles of ethnography and research to understand clients and their audiences. That's important. Clients and their audiences. How do these principles shape the creative concepts you establish?
It's everything. Number one, Abby and I are former design researchers. So my co-founder and I even came into this business from a former employer because we were design researchers. And the job of a design researcher is to really be the voice of a consumer. So that as we are developing new products, new services, new stories, we become the advocate and the voice for the consumer, the user within that setting. And for us, really the core, not even strength as it is the trait, it's just simple curiosity. It's recognizing it's not just who's paying for this, it's who really is the end user, the end buyer, who stands to benefit, who has to make a real choice here at the end of the day. And we use stories because we aim to touch hearts right? To get people to feel something, to inspire them to act. And
Mm.
so what that means is ensuring that we are really understanding not only what is it that they feel and need to feel or want to feel, what is it that we're trying to get them to do? And do we really understand that? Do we understand those patterns? And so because of that, really in most all videos that we're trying to produce, and really this is for all projects, regardless if this is creative content or not, it's not just putting ourselves in the shoes of the user,
Mm-hmm.
talking to them. It's getting as much data as possible from them. And sometimes that can look like collecting survey data. But in our experience, it's been what can we do to get in front of these folks, to actually talk to them, to learn and understand their habits and their experiences, right? So
Yeah.
rather than talking about the 32-year-old mother of two who shops at Target, right? For us, it's, well, she has a name. Her name is Sarah. She's 32. She lives in St. Paul, Minnesota, and her two kids are named Jake and James.
Wow.
And we learn, and we really try to understand her story and not just hear what she has to say. It's observing her actions as well.
Wow. Just hearing you talk, like it's not by accident that you started, even as you said, telling talent acquisition stories, and helping employers bring people into their organizations, whether they be potential new employees or even people who are going to want to use their products and services, or connect to their products and services, learn more about their products and services. I'm just seeing so many connections. And I wish more people, God, I wish more people in TA looked at branding the way that you do, as storytelling, and in such an authentic way. Like, what do your employees say about you? What do your customers say about you? Are you just looking for a software engineer, or are you looking for, what do you say, Sarah, 32-year-old mother of two from St. Paul, Minnesota, who shops at Target to do software engineering work at your organization? I
Yeah,
love it.
and I would say, to the credit of some TA professionals, right? This is persona building,
Yeah.
right? And it's definitely something that um, marketing has done for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a couple key places to start, right? If I were to think about, all right, here's kind of the quick tips. One is when we think about, all right, if we're looking to attract certain kinds of candidates, sometimes it could be that we recognize that there's someone who is just an A player in this company that you want to attract more of. So then it means kind of diving more into that person's story potentially, right? Where did they come from? What college did they go to or not? What sandboxes do they play in outside of work that might make sense for us to explore? So sometimes it looks like that. But sometimes we're looking at trying to attract a candidate that is just, they're not on our radar or we're not on theirs. And so
Yeah.
then the question becomes us doing that kind of work to understand what are their lives like
Mm-hmm.
before we even ask ourselves the question of how we attract that kind of candidate to our company. It's first understanding what is their box first. And then I would say the two big ones for us, and this was just ethnography principles 101. Big questions always is tell me more, say more, show me. It's a lot about showing and telling, right? The
Yeah.
whole point of being able to have qualitative ethnographic conversations is the idea that it's not just about the words we say, it's also in our actions, right? Can they show us how they're applying to these jobs? Can they show us where do they go to kind of look for new opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. So those are just kind of a few things. And again, it just has everything to do with just that allowing your curiosity to be piqued.
Yeah.
In recognizing that, like, there is so much of a rabbit hole to all of this. Like, the whole point is that you should still be leaving that conversation knowing you've got more questions. It just
Oh,
doesn't stop.
interesting. I never thought of it that way. You're going to have more questions. Okay. So you guys do focus on helping brands tell their stories through film. Is there a specific project that you found particularly wow? My mother is going to talk about how I can't say words, particularly rewarding. And can you elaborate on how you ensure your creative work delivers on capturing both attention and emotion?
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about attention and emotion first.
Okay.
One is we live in an attention economy. And what does that mean? We've got so many things that are vying for our attention, as we know. We are inundated with all kinds of content in and every day, which means all the more that we have to think thoughtfully and creatively about how we're going to cut through all of this content that's vying for our attention to that candidate or to whomever that we're looking to attract. So that's number one. It's because of that that we have to really think about what are some of these creative ways that we can capture someone, considering that we're just a distracted society right now. Number one. And the second is that we are in, you know, a feelings economy, right? And what I mean by that is for us, like we want to use story, especially when we know that we have to get people to feel something to inspire them to act. And that's different than us, hey, we need to just share some information for you. Sometimes we don't need any emotion involved, right? Sometimes a story isn't necessarily necessary. But in a case where you know that we have to move people to get them to do something, be that apply for a job or embrace a leadership transition, when we know that our emotions are involved, that's when we want to use story. And that's when we want to think about the emotionality of not just what are we looking to see on screen, but asking ourselves the question, how do we want this viewer to feel upon viewing this? And what do we want them to do? How do we want them to act after they've interacted with this? So setting that up here of we're in a feelings economy and we're also in the economy of attention. And a perfect example recently might be our work with Caterpillar, and I can share the link
Yes.
with all of our friends here, where they were looking to attract welders, in more specifically women welders,
Interesting.
which is often been no easy task historically. And so what you'll notice, and I won't give everything away, but when it came to the attention side, we used a bit of an element of surprise, right? Because we all know if we can use a little of an element of surprise, we lean in, right? Because it's not something that we expected. So if we can do something unexpected, that gets our attention. And then what you'll also notice, I hope, in terms of the emotionality piece, is instilling the sense of pride, the work that welder is doing.
Yeah.
What they're doing to contribute to the larger whole of making something, of the American maker, of the maker movement overall, right? That kind of pride. So definitely we'll share that example with you. And I hope that you see both the attention of the doing something unexpected and the emotionality of instilling that pride. Like, yeah, I can be a part of something bigger than myself.
Yeah, we will definitely share that, not just the links to Skill Scout. I said it, yay, but also
it's a tongue twister. We did that on purpose.
But also to the Caterpillar storytelling as well. Excuse me. Let's shift just a bit, as I did want to give some time to Mezcla. So Mezcla Media Collective aims to elevate women of color and non-binary filmmakers in Chicago. What inspired the founding of the organization, and what impact have you observed so far within the community?
Yeah, so this was an organization that I helped to co-found now in late 2017, 2018. And for myself, it really came from this insight I had early on in the business that the biggest impact I can make is not on what Skill Scout can do for other companies. It's what I can do for my own workforce. And that was just me taking my role seriously as an employer. And I feel, Kirsten, as anyone who is working adjacent in an HR focused, role, right? For an HR focused company, as someone who's really committed, my career to supporting, the world of HR and people stories, I best be one of the ones to fail forward and ensure that I can be the best employer I can be, period. Yeah. So I took that very seriously. And I feel like it's because of that, I recognize that if we are going to think about what inclusion really means in our industry and beyond, it's because I'm doing something as an owner. That I'm taking a stand.
Okay.
And what I've recognized is that, when we can focus on women of color and those who are most on the margins, everyone wins. And that's the whole point. It's not that this is an either or, hey, just here to support Black and brown women, we only hire Black and brown women. Actually, no, it's the idea that if we can put Black and brown women and non-binary at the center of our strategy, what we do then is ensure that everyone can feel safe and celebrated.
I love that.
Do their best work. So that was certainly the inspiration. The impact, there's two things for me that have surprised me in the most delightful way, right? Because I originally had come into this more as the employer, like, okay, this is about a diverse pipeline, building a diverse pipeline, et cetera. But for me, two things. One, I have been so amazed that so many of the women that become a part of Mezcla and really dig their heels in are those who've just wanted to create their own projects, right? Wow. It's not like all of these women are working in the film industry. Many of them are working 9-to-5 jobs, doing something else, and writing their screenplay at night. Or they were discouraged to follow film earlier in life. And now they're pursuing their second career. And so seeing just the plethora of projects that they want to produce has been beautiful. And how they look to Mezcla to support those projects in the form of community and meeting others that could really stand behind those projects has been beautiful. And the second one, and I think this is why Mezcla has taken off into something that's totally outside of myself and will last, I hope, for many, many years to come. We wanted community.
Yeah.
That this wasn't just about professional spaces. One of my very close friends, Kalila Lyons, talks about achieving life on the B list, which is not about leading with your achievements. It's about leading with your experiences. You should have her on the show, Kirsten.
Yes, we will talk. You have to make that connection.
I'm going to make that connection. But I say that all to say, actually, like the beauty that I have found of this community is that these women and non-binary folks are coming together really because of these shared experiences, of the shared community, and the lifelong friendships that I've seen develop over the years, lifelong very long-term collaborations. That's been the most beautiful thing for me to see, is people coming around, not around achievements, but experiences. Because let's be honest, Kirsten, for a lot of us, that's all we have.
Wow. You're dropping so many, I am mesmerized by you. I feel like
well, thank you. Well, no, I mean, you've created the space for this.
Ooh.
I'm just, you've created the container. I'm just, you
are filling it up, baby.
And celebrated to, share these contents with the container you've created. But that's been most beautiful, is the shared experiences in the community and the friendships That surprised me in the most delightful and heartfelt way.
I love that, and it says a lot to you and the other folks who co-founded with you.
And I'll say this for and I only say this because it still rings true, and may it always ring true. Anytime, someone came up to me that was like brand new to Mezcla, I didn't know about Mezcla. For me, it was like, oh, well, welcome to your community. May it already be assumed that you have found a home here. Yeah. There's no apply. There's no, do you meet these requirements? It's welcome to your community. We are so blessed to have you here.
Safe and celebrated. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be using those words a lot now. Safe
Yeah.
and celebrated. Community, emotion. Like you're giving me so many things. Oh, y'all better watch this back multiple times. Push pause, write it down, put it on a t-shirt, wear it, put it up, put on your sticky notes when you do your affirmations in the morning, all of that. So we got to get to the last question in the main section. What advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds who are looking to make their mark in the industry? Although that's probably not a good question now because experience over achievements, right?
I'm telling you, Kalila Lyons will be on this show next. I am making the introduction after this.
Okay. You know what? You can make your mark.
With, you can make, if that helps,
just you can make your mark with experience. You absolutely can. So yeah, I'm going to ask it again. What advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds who are looking to make their mark in the industry?
Most immediate is remember your why. Remember why you're here. Remember why being a storyteller is important to you. Because for most of us, it's because we are here both to dance in our ancestral joy as we are in our ancestral traumas. And for many of us, it's because we are our ancestors' deferred dreams.
Yeah.
And that's important. It's really important to get in our feelings about that, because when the going gets tough,
and it will,
our why and our origins and our lineage is all we have.
Wow. I love that.
So that's the number one. I think this goes for the rest, really of anyone who's really looking to, make their mark. Be a student of content, right? As storytellers, it's also ensuring that we are here to be both masters of our craft and students constantly.
Okay.
I would say that the third for sure is we live and die here by our portfolios. It really is in many ways ensuring that like we're constantly being able to get that kind of experience, right? And that can look like either, it being your own work or doing what you can to get on certain sets or certain projects just to have that kind of experience, to build that portfolio, which is important. And this is the difference between, the industry of filmmaking and creative, where it's not like you have to spend 4 years in school, right? It's on the job that you can get a lot of this stuff. And the final would be, don't be afraid to make the ask. And I say that more so that, there's a lot of, folks in this industry have been around for a really long time. And a lot of folks coming up can be very afraid, right? And nervous to take, write the email, ask them for a cup of coffee. But if you come to that cup of coffee, number one, paying for it because you value their time, and you come to it knowing enough about their career and coming with some questions that they know that you've studied enough about their career and about their work.
Yes.
They'll take it. And they'll want to advocate for you because you paid attention. So
important. Okay. Oh my gosh. I don't want it to end. But we do have to be mindful of your time. I know you have a lot of work that you need to do. So we're going to hit these rapid fire questions. Oh my goodness. I'm so filled up right now. Y'all just don't know. You know, a thug only cries every 5 years or so during the full moon and when Mercury is in retrograde. But a thug is filled up today. Listen, you don't have no idea. What is the best piece of career advice that you never took or that you took later in your career?
Oof. My husband's favorite quote is, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Emphasis on preparation. I am here to be prepared, to be prepared, to be prepared.
Okay.
That is big, big, big career advice when I think about, the moves I make next.
Okay.
If I make the moves I make next, it's because I've been prepared to know when to seize on that next opportunity.
That's great advice. So, what advice would you give to your early career, your design research self?
My ultimate mentor, Chris Conley, always used to tell us it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
It still rings true. Patience, patience, patience. Just keep jogging, just keep moving, because it's just like a good Dale Earnhardt quote. It's not about the fastest car, it's refusing to lose.
Ooh,
I refuse to lose.
I know that's right. So this is where I set you up like I do all my other guests. If you were to write a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
Work in progress.
Work in progress. So we're going to see that at the end of this year or early 2025.
Or maybe not even in a book at all. It could very well be a doc.
In film, yes.
But
true story. True story.
It's always a work in progress.
Work in progress coming soon. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself? Oh, you got a prop? I can't see
It's one of my favorite children's story book. It's called Miss Rumphius.
Oh.
And Alice Rumphius wanted to travel the world when she grew up and then to live by the sea, just as her grandfather had done. But there is one more thing, he tells her. She must do something to make the world more beautiful.
Oh.
And so, Kirsten,
you are making
I have my version of traveling the world and living by the sea. And may it be my blessing always that I am finding ways to make the world more beautiful.
You absolutely are. I can tell you that. You've made the short time that I've known you, and I say that because it's just been a few years, maybe 2018-ish. Yeah, till now. But the last 4 years didn't count because we were all in that. Like 2020, like what was that? What happened? I don't even know what happened. But here we are in 2024. Let's just keep moving. Like you said, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've talked a lot about filmmaking. We're going to move a little bit to music. What's your go-to songs, or music genre? And we're going to say
music.
and or. Oh,
house
okay.
Music. House music.
Okay.
House music.
House music all night long? Like Chicago house, not like where I'm from, not New Jersey house, like Chicago house.
Definitely like some Chicago house, but I get into my. I'll share in our show notes too. What's the vibe that I'm going for? Kiko Navarro, Sea Goddess. So
okay,
I embrace my inner Yamaya. So I get down with some tribal house music.
Okay,
yes I do.
I love it. Conquer the day. Yes. What are you most looking forward to this year?
Honestly, really getting to see people in person. I've missed the stickiness of what in person can do for relationships. And I mean that both from friendships to professional relationships. I think it's a one thing owner to owner. I recognize I'm not here to build transactional relationships. I'm here to build and cultivate deep ones. And I know that I can do that and do it quicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I can do in person. So
Okay.
I feel like this has kind of been the year when finally everyone's like, all right, yep, like
Just
we're here. COVID is enough behind us, right?
ish,
We're,
kind of,
we're able
maybe.
to be enough in person. So
Yeah.
I when I can and where I can, you know, ways that I can be in person and meet folks in person, I'm really excited about that.
Okay. So I know that you're in a highly sensitive and confidential industry. But in addition to telling people where we can go, because we're not only are we going to watch the Caterpillar uh, piece, we are going to visit Skill Scout, we're going to visit Mescla Media Collective, but two parts. Where can we go to follow you and your work? And is there anything that you can tell us? Just, a project that you recently completed,
No.
um, that we should be on the lookout for.
Yeah. Please follow me on my LinkedIn. It'd be a blessing to continue to be in conversation and space with everyone listening today.
Okay.
I will share a dream of grandeur.
Okay.
My dream of grandeur, Kirsten, is I want to produce a Super Bowl campaign. So speaking it into existence, I want to produce a Super Bowl campaign. So that's my dream of grandeur.
Okay.
And may we all have them.
Yes.
Right? May we all have them.
Usher, do you hear that?
May we all have them. So
yes. I love that.
That's
We're
what I
gonna be
want.
looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. So when I get it one day, Kirsten, you'll be texting me being like, Elena, you remember when we were on the chat? And I said, yep.
Listen,
so
I'm like, again, you just have no idea how my delusions of grandeur have led me to have a relationship with Elena, where like Kirsten Greggs was bold enough to reach out to Elena in 2020 and be like, listen, because I don't know, y'all know I don't know how to do anything technically, I know how to turn it on, I know how to type, I know how to print, that's about it. I can post and pray, that's what I can do. But I had done an interview with BBC, and they didn't send me a copy. I sent you a link and I was like, is it possible? Maybe please, if you could maybe also, if you could send this to me so I can, use it on my platform. And you were like, sure. And I was like, what? Yep.
There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way. And it's been my blessing to see your rise and continue to see your rise, Kirsten. You're a huge contributor to our community.
Thank you so
much.
And
I love seeing how you've continued to expand this platform, and you've never stopped and never stopped, because there's so many of us that are watching your rise and are being inspired by it. So thank you, and thank you for holding space for this today and for our conversation.
Thank you, Elena. I adore you. You are an amazing person. Looking forward to continuing to see all you're doing.
Yes, thank you.
And Abby with Skill Scout, say it slowly, as well as Mescla and the community that's building, continuing to build and evolve there. You guys, the next shows will be Black History Month. Y'all know I'm doing real work right now. Yeah. So
yes, she is in hot and high demand. Yes, she is.
Black History Month will be a series co-hosted by a former guest and one of my dearest and oldest friends, stressing old, Dr. Darrell Williams. And we're going to be talking to some amazing people from the theme of doing your thing while doing their thing. So stay tuned for that. Also, make sure you're following Elena Valentine. You can check her out on LinkedIn. You can also go to @skillscout.com, as well as mesclamediacollective.org. Thank you so much again, Elena, for your time. Thank you all for watching. Check the replay, share, 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 and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.